Hey, what's up? Derek here with a pickups video. So it's been a while, like a very long while since I made a video. And the long story short is just no motivation. Like when I came back around Halloween, I think it was, I told myself I was just going to make a video whenever I felt like it, and I just haven't felt like it. But now I feel like making a video. And I've also been collecting um, like a publisher specific series of games, and I think I might do some videos on those. Um, yeah, I guess we'll see what happens, but I'm pretty positive I'll do a series of videos on those. Anyways, so just got some video games here to talk about. So I think I talked about this at one point, but Ever Oasis was a game, like one of the last DS games or 3DS games I've picked up. And I've been playing this game a lot lately. Like this has been the game that I've been playing. And I love this game. Like it's a fresh take on JRPGs. The game loop is awesome. It has like elements of town building and world building in it. The combat feels pretty good. Like it's an action adventure game, it feels like. And like there's just a ton of looting. Like as you progress through the game, you can have your character like send out other groups of like NPC characters to go do the looting and stuff for you. You can have them like um, grow vegetables and stuff for you. Like it's just a really cool game, like a very interesting game, and I've been loving playing through it. I also picked up Dragon Ball Fusions. This game actually went on sale, and like pretty much anytime a 3DS game goes on sale and it's not like an anime, well, this is obviously an anime game, but like for the large part, I don't really like anime games. So when I see 3DS games go on sale, I usually try and pick them up. But I do really like the handheld Dragon Ball games. Like, seems like all the console Dragon Ball games are pretty much just fighting games, and all the handheld Dragon Ball games tend to be adventure or RPG games. And yeah, ended up grabbing it. Looked pretty cool. And then the Square Enix store had a sale, and I ended up grabbing some games. Like these were all pretty much like $5 each. And I got Bust a Move Universe. Bust a Move games are always pretty fun, like good time waster. And the puzzles are, I think, pretty good. Like there's a good variety of them to keep you interested in playing them. And I also had grabbed Space Bust a Move for the DS. It's pretty much the same thing as the one I just showed, except like I've been looking at DS versus 3DS games a lot lately, and I tend to like prefer DS games because they still use sprites, whereas it seems like with 3DS games, they largely developers move towards 3D models, and I don't really care for that. Then I also grabbed Dragon Quest Monsters. I think this is pretty much like a Pokemon style game with Dragon Quest characters, or like Dragon Quest monsters, which it makes sense because Dragon Quest has just a ton of monsters, and they always had the medallions in the Dragon Quest games, and like they had the little like battle arenas anyways in the game, so it makes sense to just make a Pokemon style game out of that. And then I also grabbed the two Crystal Chronicles games. I don't know why. Like I haven't really wanted to play a JRPG lately, but I've been wanting to play like action RPGs or like action adventure games. And the Crystal Chronicle games on the GameCube were some of my probably favorite adventure games. And like they were cool on the GameCube and stuff because they were multiplayer. I don't know if these ones are multiplayer. I haven't started playing them yet, obviously, since they're sealed. But pretty interested to jump into them. I think after I finish with Ever Oasis, one of these two Crystal Chronicle games will be the one that I jump into next. And I have one Wii game. I haven't bought a Wii game in forever, but it's an import. This game unfortunately only released in Europe and I think Asia. Like it didn't release in North America, but it's Disaster Day of Crisis. This falls in the same series as Disaster Report and Raw Danger. Like those are both PS2 games, and they're like kind of, I guess, like a mix between an adventure game and a horror game, except like it's just a natural disaster survival game. And like, I don't know, I just think those games are really cool. One released on the Wii U, obviously one released on the Wii since I'm holding it. And both of those games were only released in Europe and Asia. And like the US got hosed on them, which sucks. I think altogether there's like 5 or 6 of these games, but they're all pretty cool. Then I ended up picking up like the PS4 and the Switch have been mainly what I've been collecting for. Like I stopped doing retro collecting. basically because of price gouging and just the obsession with value when it comes to retro games, and which feeds right back into the price gouging. So it's just ridiculous how expensive those games are, even for like the shovelware. Like the publisher I'm collecting games for put out a good bit of shovelware, but some of the shovelware games look pretty cool. But since those games are just they're old games and they're complete in box, since nobody bought them, since they're shovelware, people feel like they should ask $100 for them, and it's like, no, it's not how that should go. But anyways, so I ended up picking up Metal Gear Survive, and this game got bad reviews. One, because of Konami. Two, because it's not a Kojima game, and three, because I think people don't think it's a good game in general. But like, I watched some videos on it, and it seemed like it was a pretty cool game if you like divorce the fact that it's a Metal Gear game. And I don't know, it was only like $20, so I was like, screw it, I'll play it. I don't really care. Then I got an import here. I'm not positive, but I think Limited Run Games did a release of this game too. This is the Asia region release of this game, so it has English subtitles. But it's like a board game slash strategy game slash tactical kind of like God game. It seemed pretty cool, and it's a VR game. I like the art style of it. It seemed really cool, like I said. And yeah, wanted to grab it. So we'll see. Like my VR headset and stuff is all like packed away because I'm still in the process of trying to get out of this house. But one day when I set like all my video game stuff up again, I'll hopefully be able to jump into it. The next game here is called Air, Memories of Old. This is like a Legend of Zelda style game. And yeah, I just every now and then you just want to play like a pure adventure game. And like the art style seemed pretty cool. It kind of seemed like kind of has like a Journey-esque feel to it. And like I said, gameplay wise, it seems like a Legend of Zelda style game. And this is another cheap game. Like PS4 has so many cheap games on it. And yeah, so it didn't hurt to try to pull the trigger on it and take a chance. Okay, and then the remaining games are all pretty much shmups. I think actually they all are shmups. So we have another import called Rabby Ribby. This is definitely a Dojin game. Like it got a PS4 release. So it's like a platformer, kind of like Mega Man with like shooter bullet patterns in it. Seems pretty cool. Like when you look at it, it's definitely Dojin style gaming. And yeah, I just like the mix of like shooter mechanics and platformers. I actually think I have the Dojin release of this game. I have to like look in my PC games to see. Then we have another VR shooter here called Super Stardust Ultra. This is pretty much like, I think this style of game like Stardust is kind of like Geometry Wars or like Centipede, I want to say, like those kind of games where you're just shooting at like waves of enemies and they like build up on the screen. And yeah, this is in VR. Like I haven't played it yet, so I don't know. Like I said, it's VR. My VR headset's put away. But I thought it was just like VR looking down on the 3D world that's like rotating and you like shoot that way. This kind of makes it seem like you can look at it first person, which seems kind of cool now that I look at it. Let's see. There we go. Yeah. Then this is a fairly new release. It's called Velocity. This game I wanted to get because it kind of reminded me of a side-scrolling platformer version of The Guardian Legend. So there's like a mix of side-scrolling, platforming, and then shooter levels. So like in The Guardian Legend on the NES, that was a straight adventure game with shmup levels in it. And yeah, so any game that pretty much does that. So there's like Guardian Legend, Sigma Star Saga, and then this game are like the three that immediately come to mind. I tend to get because I really like the mix of those. And then this one has turned out to be somewhat of an interesting one. I didn't realize this game was going to release, and then I just happened to be like looking up all the different like I call them forced rarity companies, but like all the companies that do limited releases of games. And I saw this one was releasing. This was strictly limited games, I think. Yeah. And this one is kind of like Death Smiles. It's like a side-scrolling shooter. You ride on the back of a griffin. Let's see if I can get it. Hands are shaky. You ride on the back of a griffin and you shoot enemies on screen. So it's kind of like Kyle Flying Squadron in that regard too. This game unfortunately had a release of like 1,000 copies of this game. And going back to the whole price gouging thing, I had gone to pretty much collecting current gen games only because pricing was so much better. But then all of these companies have come along with these stupid frickin' limited releases. And now they've created this ecosystem of putting out interesting games in super small quantities. And if you miss them, then you're SOL and you have to pay like 5 times as much as the game originally cost at its release. And it's ridiculous. But yeah, I'm trying to get all the shooters on the PS4. And luckily, like I said, I had seen that one. So it's like you either have to constantly keep up to date with all these companies, or like I said, pay 5 times as much as they release for in the secondhand market if you're trying to collect any I guess like genre of game. Anyways, this is another shmup. This is called the Game Paradise Cruisin' Mix. This game, the original game, Game Paradise. I don't know what the Japanese pretext is, but this game originally released on the Sega Saturn, and then it got a PS4 release. And you don't see any of the shooter elements there, but it's a vertical scrolling shooter, and like it seems pretty cool. It seems like it has kind of like the same humor and visuals as like a Parodius, but vertical scrolling. And it's got like a DVD in it, like I guess like a how-to DVD, and then like a soundtrack. I think it's a pretty good release. And I got it through PlayAsia. And then another PlayAsia exclusive was Defenders of Ikron. Like, I don't mind PlayAsia's exclusives. The limited editions tend to have like a limited release, but then the actual game, they still continue to sell. Of course, there's nothing here. But they continue to sell the game, which I think is a better way to do it than just like, here's 1,000 copies of a game and that's all that's ever going to be made. Good luck. So yeah, that's kind of a dick move on those companies. But this is, it's kind of like, I'm trying to think of a game that it's like, maybe like Under Defeat. I don't know. It's like, I guess kind of like a twin stick shooter. Like you can shoot in 360 degrees and you're just shooting at random things on screen. The graphic style isn't like the greatest, but it seemed interesting enough, at least to give a playthrough. And it seems like it has a pretty good story, like more so than any shooter that you normally see. So I figured I'd give it a chance for that reason too. And then the last game here is one that I've been waiting for freaking ever. And when the release came, the actual copy of the game wasn't in the release. And I was kind of annoyed by that. But then this game came along and now that's been rectified. But Battle Garaga finally got a freaking physical release, only released in Korea, and it doesn't have English subtitles, but for whatever reason, Asian games tend to have like a lot of text in them anyways, especially shooters. So like the whole game UI, like gameplay UI, I'm pretty positive is in English, and a lot of the sub menus are in English. It's just like the main menus and stuff that are going to be in Korean. But like if you can halfway navigate yourself through the menus, then you have a physical copy of Battle Garaga. So yeah, I ended up picking up this. I was super happy. So now I have an actual physical copy of this game to go with like the limited edition like box set that came with everything but the freaking game. And I think Limited Run Games is going to be trying to do a release of this game at some point. Like they seem like they're hinting at it. But anyways, yeah, those are my pickups for the last 6 months. And I kind of want to be more regular with this channel again. Like I've been playing a lot of handhelds. Like I said, it's really hard to literally like show anything for a handheld since you can't do video capture from them. So I don't know, maybe I'll just do like short reviews of what I've been playing. And then I've been like trying my hand at game development. Like I've been working on a Legend of Zelda style game, and I don't know, like maybe I was thinking about doing, like I want to keep my channel mostly centered on video games, but maybe not exclusively video game collecting. So I was thinking about doing like how-tos for programming, and then I don't know, like maybe picking a game and then picking a gameplay mechanic in a game and seeing if I can recreate it or something. I don't know. But I'll probably be trying some different things. And then, like I said, there's the public share exclusive collecting that I've been doing that I'll probably make some videos on in the future. But anyways, I hope everyone has been well in the 6 months that I've been absent. And if you happen to check out this video, thanks for checking out the video. And I hope you've had a great weekend, and take it easy. Later.